Hello, and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today's podcast number 2214. The topic is mindset, and the title is Why versus How. I subscribe to a daily newsletter from Daily Hope. It's a newsletter from Pastor Rick Warren, and in a recent message, he wrote the following paragraph. Living a focused life takes persistence. And the key to persistence is perspective. It's all in the way you look at life. Why always determines how long. When you figure out why you do what you do, then you'll have the motivation to keep on doing it. I really like this. This stood out to me in the message. And I thought about how this has applied to my journey and in regards to my most consistent and not coincidentally most successful clients. And through the day of kind of thinking through it, I ended up making a post on social media, and I have a kind of a thread of posts that are titled Lessons Learned in the Gym. And I thought about how what he wrote, how I've learned that, applied that, and maybe didn't even realize it in the gym. So I made the following post. Why is greater than how. Focus more on why it's important to you than focusing on how you'll achieve it. The how is unpredictable and will change. It's the why that'll carry you through the journey. And that's been my experience. I started eating healthy and trying to exercise to improve my aesthetics, the way I looked, but also just improve my mental toughness, improve who I was at 15 years old. I actually started on my 15th birthday. I'm now 41, but I've actually never taken a break. The longest I've gone without lifting weights has been 7 days. So like a Monday to a Monday. Once was when I was physically sick. I had so much inflammation in my joints. I remember I threw up one time turning a wrench trying to fix a machine. So I had to take some time off of the gym, but I still went for walks every day. The other time I took a week off was I was struggling with depression. But again, I took walks instead. As for nutrition, I've never had a day since I was 15 years old, which I didn't actively consider what my food choices were doing for me or against me. Even when I eat for fun, so to speak, I still figure out like, okay, I'm doing this and I know it's going to have this impact. But if I want to mitigate it, I can take these actions. If I don't want to mitigate it, I just want to enjoy it, then I'll just do that. But I'm always mindful of what I eat. And that's been since I was 15 years old. So I've been pursuing my goal of becoming my best self for 26 years. The how has changed more times than I could ever recall. Trying hundreds of diets, hundreds of training styles. Meredith and I recently actually went to a Pilates class, and I've shared with her how I used to be a Pilates instructor back when I was in undergrad. I was actually a Pilates and Zumba instructor, believe it or not. I've tried literally everything. So the how has changed. But what's kept me going for 26 years? What keeps me consistent? What keeps my consistent clients going? And that's the why. Why do they want to do it is more important than how they're going to do it. So often people focus on the how, trying to find the perfect diet, the perfect training program. But for many, if they start, they quickly burn out and they return back to the life that they didn't enjoy, they didn't like, they didn't love, they didn't want to stay in. But yet they go back to it. They focused so much on how they were going to achieve the goal, but they never fully built a strong why. I would encourage everyone listening to this podcast to spend time on the why. Why do you want the goal that you're working for? If you want to lose weight, why? To feel more confident in your skin? Sure, that's great. But why? Because then maybe you'll feel more confident to be your true self. You'll act the way you always wish you did when you're around others and in group settings. Maybe you'll finally wear the clothes that you've always wanted to wear but never had the confidence for. Maybe you'll finally take on that big adventure, that next step of life, feeling more confident in who you are and the way you look. Losing weight isn't only about looking good. It's about feeling good. It's about believing in yourself, becoming yourself, bringing to fruition what you want your life to be. Living your life, living the life you were meant to have. That's what losing weight can mean for you. If you flush out the why, if you understand the depths of it, then when you encounter obstacles in your how, in your approach, you'll have more resiliency to work through them or work around them or find another how that will continue to push progress. It's the why that'll carry you. It's the why that's going to allow you to enjoy the journey. It's the why that allows you to reach the finish line. It's often the why that continues to extend the finish line. If you actually reach the goal, you realize, what more could I do? What more could I become? That's really, really exciting. Once you have a strong why, your pursuit of a better life becomes just part of who you are. Not just something you're doing, it is who you are. It's the why that often separates the consistent from the inconsistent. It's the why that often separates the successful from the short-term burnouts. If you want to be successful, if you want to be happy in the journey, if you want to create a better life, focus not on the how, but on the why. Why are you doing this? Why do you want it? The deeper, the more meaningful the why, the stronger you will be to see it through. So for all the effort you're trying to find the best diet, the best training program, the best how, spend more time, and I would actually say first, do it first, is spend time on the why. Why do you want this? Why is it meaningful to you? Think of as many reasons as possible. Don't even, right away, don't try to qualify them, say, oh, this is stupid, or that's dumb, or, that's not enough. Don't do that. Just list them. Just write them down. Anything that comes to mind as to why you want that goal. Anything. And then as you kind of reach an end point and you kind of can't think of anything, read back through the list. Start to organize the list. Start to say, what's more important to me? Was it this or this or this or this? Start to rank your list. What you'll find is you'll often then start to find extra reasons. And you'll start to actually pinpoint the real reason, the deeper why. That step, that process of finding your why, solidifying your why, fortifying your why, it's unspeakable how much that can contribute to success. The most successful clients I have the deepest whys. Often what they do is identified in who they are. They're not a person who does that thing. That's them. That's them as a person. So it's not, I have to work out today. It's, I'm working out today. Maybe I don't feel as excited as I normally do. Some days I do feel excited, some days I don't, but I'm working out. It's not that I don't. The hardest thing I have to do with my most successful people is get them to take days off. Get them to back off. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they were telling me their past, I think, 6 months or so of fat loss. They were trying it on their own, so they're not a client. We were just talking. And they explained everything they're doing, and they said, what do you think is the problem? And I answered, I said, you're trying too hard. That blew their mind. It blew their mind. I said, you're trying too hard. You're doing too much. They were over-exercising, under-eating. Their body is now fighting the fat loss process because they've created an environment where their body fat is a necessity. They need to have that body fat. Their body has really prioritized having excessive energy around because they have such a insufficient intake of energy compared to their output. So they're actually trying too hard. They need to do less. And that'll actually make them greater progress. But the reason why they want to try so hard is because of their why. It means so much to them that they're willing to work out harder and longer and more frequently. That they're eating less and less and less, even though it's uncomfortable. They're pushing through typical pain and misery signals, so much so that it's actually hurting their progress because of how intense their why is. In those cases, we kind of have to put into perspective what their efforts are and what the time frame can be. But that's often not the majority of cases, is that the why is actually so strong it's detrimental. Most often the why isn't well thought out. And that's what I would encourage you to do, is really think out your why. Why does this mean so much to you? If you can figure that out, you'll then be able to work through the obstacles and work through the challenges that will come your way. Your how will not go as planned. There will be bumps in the road. There are going to be moments when what you're supposed to do can't be done, and you've got to figure out something else. Your how will change, but it's your why that'll carry you through the journey. So spend some time thinking on that. Okay? If you have any questions, if you need anything, I'm always available. I'm always here. Email me at brutalirongym@gmail.com. If you like the podcast, please share the podcast. The more people we share it with, the more people can help. If you like the podcast, you can donate to support the podcast on our website. You can also go to Nutricost.com. They're a supplement company. I use their supplements for over 10 years. You can use the code BrutalIron10 to get a 10% discount. And then of what you spend, we get a 10% commission. So it's a great way for you to give back to the gym, give back to the podcast if you'd like, while also getting great supplements at a great discount. Cool. And then if you want more information from us, you can find us on social media. You can always find us and follow us on Instagram and YouTube under the name Brutal Iron Gym. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.